You want Philly Philly?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's easy to sum it up. We're talking about practice.
Because it's about as casual as it gets.
What's the problem now?
That's a clown question, bro.
I think we ought to turn the beat in at least.
World champions!
Start playing with some jam in here. Let's go.
Philadelphia, looking as only you can look. Woo!
Here we go.
And good evening, everybody. My name is Eric Perugini. I am here with Pat Hausman and Chris Lahiff for another edition of the Philly podcast, brought to you by CEVSports.com. So, tonight's episode, we're going to be talking some NFL football, recapping today's games, mostly going to be recapping the Eagles game. With that, gentlemen, how are you tonight? And happy Football Sunday.
Yeah, what a Sunday it was. You know, Dallas got embarrassed bad. Like, I think Dak's hurt, you know. And then, you know, we had the Eagles with the out-loss and the Giants won. So, like, that division is, you know, I mean, Dallas is still 6-2. But before we get into football, like you said, let's talk about the Sixers and their little 6-game winning streak.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Like, I'll let Pat lead the way because he's a big basketball guy. But you know, like, it's crazy. Like, and for the Bulls fans and anybody else on social media who thought, and you guys can agree or disagree with me, who thought Embiid should have got a flagrant one for hitting Lonzo Ball's throw and you know, when he was just, you know, mad at himself. Shut your mouth. Like, it was a technical because, you know, the way he didn't have control of his body, but there was no intent there. That's why there's replay. And if you have a problem with it, take it up with, you know.
Somehow we lost Chris. I think he had
Mid-thought.
enough. Yeah, that's a great thought. So, I believe he's coming back in.
It was the powers that be in the NBA that cut him off.
Yeah, that's what it was.
It had to be. Jesus
StreamYard trumped him.
It's Secaucus. They did a
There you
replay. They threw Chris out. Yeah.
They threw Chris out because, you know, I agreed with them.
Yeah.
God forbid. But, you know, Pat, go into the Sixers game, you know. And, they're weak. I mean, they were 3-0 this week. You know, they're a 6-game winning streak. You know, all without, you know, the great Ben Simmons.
So you're getting production from all over the floor. You know, Ben Simmons doesn't like playing with Joel Embiid, but the fact is Joel Embiid makes people better more than Ben Simmons makes people play better, and Ben Simmons is supposed to be the point guard of the team. You know, Tyrese Maxey has been up and down. I love him.
Tyrese Maxey.
But, you know, the reality, he has been up and down a little bit, but that's why he needs to play because come springtime, he'll be more consistent with what he's doing on the floor. And you get flashes of greatness, you know, where he goes off and he scores 8 points in the matter of 4 minutes, you know, attacking the basket, stepping back and hitting shots. He's just a fun kid to watch. He plays with a lot of energy. You can't help but not like the kid. Georges Niang brings a different skill set, I think, to the team than it's actually something that we were kind of lacking. You know, he's a good shooter. He gives you size. He does a lot of the different things that, again, we haven't had a guy that could do that in this town. So I think he's been a great addition, too, coming off the bench. It really strengthens your bench. Matisse Thybulle, again, playing more minutes, taking on a bigger role here because of the absence of Ben Simmons. We're seeing what he brings to the table. All in all, and Andre Drummond, you know, I think you look at that guy, he's supposed to come in and basically be a backup, and he still had a lot in the tank. So between the free agent signings, really the addition by subtraction and just the maturation of some of these guys, you know, we're seeing, you know, some payoffs here. And I think it's only going to get better as the season goes because, again, you're Matisse Thybulle now compared to what he's going to be probably in March or April, he's going to be better. Maxey's going to be a better player. The experience is going to help. Now, I hope they manage their time, you know, because, again, you know, and I know these old-time guys oh, they used to play every game all year, and we don't have to. They don't need breaks. They don't need time off. They're also the same guys that are on the radio saying, "No, that Furkan Corkman, he doesn't follow his shots when he shoots the ball." Yeah, because it's a transition game now. This isn't the 70s anymore where everybody was plotting and posting it. It's a totally different game. The way transition works and how fast these guys are going up and down the court every night, they need breaks. It's reality. It's how the game is now. So, hopefully they manage these guys well over the course of the 82-game season, and come playoff time, we're seeing again the dividends, this consistently good type of play, and they're going to make a long run. And I'm happy kind of just to let Ben Simmons rot at this point. I know we had a whole thing about him, our last show with Frankie, but personally, like I said, there's nothing likable about that guy. He can rot for the next 4 years for all I care, and hopefully maybe we'll send him to Detroit and leave him in basketball hell after that. I could care less about the guy. Well, but overall, happy with how the team's playing.
Yeah, I mean, but you hit the nail on the head though with the one person that they brought in, who I thought was a lot of people were questioning why they brought him in, which was Drummond, and I thought it was an incredibly smart signing to bring him in, because Embiid's going to miss time. Load management or actual injury, because I mean a lot of people are complaining now about some things with him and his knee. Like they were talking about 4 games into the season, he's already like quote unquote injured. And Drummond still has enough in the tank to where he can still be a starter and put up some really good numbers at that position. So to me, it was like having I hate to bring it up, like being in Philly and all that, but it was kind of like having your quarterback and then like the best backup quarterback in the league. To me, that's how I view Drummond, as being like probably one of the better backup centers in the league. I mean, he could easily be a starter somewhere. And I think he's been a real nice, not even a nice surprise to me, but I think he's been a nice surprise to a lot of people. And he's bringing consistency to a position where if we didn't have Joe in there, you had nobody. And now you always have a big guy on the court. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. Whatever Doc is doing to get these guys to all buy in, because you got to think you're also missing Tobias Harris. Danny Green's been out, So I mean, it's and like Drew's correct. Like Drew just put up there major upgrade over Howard, and he honestly is. So it's
if you ask the guy on Twitter who went at Jim Gardner and his mustache that Dwight Howard's better than Andre Drummond and Niang, it's like what? I don't know what people like. Does Dwight Howard? He's good. Like he's good for what he brings. Andre Drummond's better. I mean, Andre Drummond's only 28 years old, so it's like, and for the league minimum that we got him, it's insane. And Stafford just threw another interception for a pick 6.
And that's what I don't understand. I don't necessarily understand why people thought Drummond was completely cooked at this point. He was a good player, and
social media. It's social media. It's exactly it is.
Yeah, and the guy ended up not getting a really good contract. We benefited from it because he didn't get a huge contract because of that. But it's like this guy's not cooked. I mean, he might have been down on himself a little bit, and he might have been dealing with some confidence issues, but he still had plenty left. He wasn't old, and I didn't understand it. They were concerned about how him and Embiid would get along. Well, look, Embiid's been able to put up with, Ben Simmons' sourpuss for the last 3 or 4 years. He can put up with anybody. So, again, I'm just really happy with the way the team's kind of gelling, the way they're playing. It seems like they're kind of like winning in spite of this guy. I think they just can't stand him so much. They're just like, let's just go out and let's on nights when normally they'd be like, we're tired. This has been a tough stretch of games here. They're pushing through it. I think really because they just want to rub it in this guy's face. Whatever works for you,
Listen, they had 4 games in 6 nights and went 4-0.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like that's
right.
It's I don't know what else you want from the guys.
I mean,
right.
People are sitting there saying that the Sixers. I mean, there's some people that are saying that the Sixers are a better team with Ben Simmons on it. I don't think so. I mean,
what have you
don't
seen?
get me wrong.
Well, they're different. It's not so much that they're a different team because you have to change the flow to what is the player. With Maxey at running the point, the only thing that if you want to look at Maxey for anything, he's too fast for the game. Like he's gotta slow down himself a little. Like those fast breaks, while they're good, is going to get him hurt. Like, and it's going to be an unintentional. Like someone's going to go up, someone's going like he's just way too fast. He's only 22 years old. Kid's from Kentucky. Kentucky usually produces pretty good basketball players. I'm just going to throw it out there. I could be wrong.
he's a very crafty scorer too. Teams can't get the timing on him because instead of leaving his foot, leaving on the proper foot to shoot a layup, he's leaving on the opposite, and that throws timing off on defensive players. And yeah, a lot of times that's going to lead to him getting fouled pretty hard, and he's going to hit the wood. I'm not concerned about him falling though because he seems like he knows how to fall. And Beats the one I'm concerned about. Like, go get the guy some like stuntman classes or something like that. Teach him how to like tuck and roll and fall. It's like every time he hits the wood, it's like, oh my god, it looks like a tree falling. Number one, and number two, like he just doesn't fall right so that he can like not get hurt. And it's so concerning because like last year, I think there was like probably 18 to 20 times where he hit the floor. I'm like, oh my god, he's hurt now. Like it's already happened a couple times this year. You know, we're 8 games into the season, we're 10% of the way there. It's like, come on, man. Like, you got to stop doing this, and you got to learn how to fall properly. It's like he looks like the kid who just never grew into his body. You know, like they're awkward and they fall weird, and like that's what he looks like. You know, it's like, dude, you've been in the league now for 4 or 5 years. Like you got to learn how stop flopping too, because that's not doing you any service because you can't fall right. So
right.
But, yeah, and you know the NBA, you know, there's a lot of complaints going on because the new ball, you know, it's slick. Like that's, you know, it's like, you know, the new ball's in and it's like very slick. And it's not just like it's a league-wide problem,
right?
And then another thing is look how trash Trae Young is.
Yeah.
Like, look at it. They changed the rules because of him, and he can't do anything.
Yep. Well, to be honest, the ball thing, it comes down to sponsorship. But, like, the Spalding balls, all the balls that they use, like, I never liked any of those balls. If you're going to play with a good basketball, Biden Elite was my favorite. I liked it. I liked the feel of it. I liked the texture of it. I liked the padding they use. That's the best basketball, I feel like, on the market that you can buy. You buy the Elite, that's the best. But they're a small company, so especially compared to like the big boys, so they're never going to win that contract. So if they really want to get a better ball or better quality ball in basketball, that's the one you go with. But you know, they use these ones for, you know, and they're complaining that they don't work as well, or like you said, they don't have as much give. You know, they're slick, so they're not shooting as well. But you said that's a sponsorship thing. Just if you want quality, go with quality. You know, the NFL, they had to go with the better quality helmets for safety. If you want to subtract and go better quality for product reasons for the NBA, buy the Elite's the way to go, and you don't have people complaining about it. So
it ain't affecting Steph Curry.
No, no,
not at all.
That dude could use a brick shaped as a ball, and he'd still be making threes. You know, he's just the best shooter ever lived. So
he's ridiculous. And then I will say this: I'm going to throw it out. Chase is playing for Parkwood basketball this year. Woo! My God, that kid has never played basketball in his life. So we're about to see the great white hype. So all right, so let's switch gears. You know, let's go to the Eagles. I was going to do some Flyers talk, but we didn't do really any notes on it. Sixers was a quick one because we all watched it. Let's go to the Eagles. So I'm not going to talk about the game right now. I am going to talk about our idiot fan base and throwing things onto the field at our head coach. This is why Philadelphia fans get a bad rap, and then they wonder why. Like, why? I don't care that it's Flowers. You're not funny. You're a moron.
I thought it was pretty funny.
Well, you're not an Eagles fan.
I thought it was...
I'm an Eagles fan. I was like, oh, look at the Flowers. I actually got a little kick out of it, but then I was like, don't do that.
You can listen. When it first happens, you can be like, all right, and then
that's kind of like what I did,
and that's fine because I was like, oh Jesus Christ, and then you think about it and you're like, oh wait, Eagles fans suck. Oh, and then Eagles fans get all defensive. I can't believe the media talks bad about us. I don't know. Stop throwing stuff onto the field. I don't care that it's Flowers. And listen. Security shouldn't have held Sirianni back. Let him go into the stands. Let the Malice at the Palace Part 2 begin at the link. Like, let's go. Like, if you're tough enough to throw flowers, be tough enough to man up to Sirianni and say it to his face. But no, you're going to be a clown. You're probably going to be banned, or you got some of these tickets revoked. But I don't know. They were on the ground, Drew. They were on the ground. But it's just stupid. Now, for the next who knows how many goddamn weeks, we have to hear about things being thrown onto the field at Lincoln Financial Field by the Philadelphia fan base because one friggin' moron. Oh, I hope the dude gets punched in his face. Like I hope he gets, I don't know, shot in the face with roses. I don't know. It's stupidity at its finest. But now, let's go to the game. Like,
well, hold on. I just want to touch on the flower thing again. Are you two guys happy with this head coach? Do you think this guy's going to the long-term solution for?
No, I'm not happy with him, but I'm not throwing. We don't no because I don't care who you are. Again, what have I always said? I don't boo my own players. I wouldn't boo Simmons. I'm sure shit not going to throw anything at anybody.
Well, I don't think they threw it at him. They threw it in his direction because it didn't hit him.
Same thing. But last week they threw a jersey at him, or 2 weeks ago they threw a jersey at him.
Well, I'm not agreeing that this is the right thing, but one of the messages that this does send to Jeffrey Lurie is that the fans don't like this guy.
Right. Okay, well, you know what? The fans don't like Howie Roseman, and that dude's been destroying my team for decades.
Hey, well, if he was on the field, he was on the field, maybe they'd throw a draft guide at him. You know, I don't know.
I wouldn't let that dude draft my fantasy football team. Let alone
I wouldn't either. But like I said, maybe this moves up him being expedited out of this position.
No,
I don't know.
It's definitely it's definitely a move by the fan base to show Jeffrey Lurie, you know, like, look, this guy ain't it. We're not thinking that we don't believe in him, you know. So
and you know what? I'm glad the fans aren't GMs because they want Odell Beckham. They want Odell Beckham. Baker Mayfield can't hit Odell Beckham on a slant, and you think Jalen Hurts is? Get the hell out of here! No, absolutely not. The fan base the fan was 100% wrong. You know me. I always disagree with you. There is no justifying what happened today with the throwing of the flowers.
Well,
what if there was something in that flowers? Like, come on. You just got to be realistic. Don't be a moron. Like, what were you? Oh, you know what you got? You got banned. You didn't make a statement. Yeah, you're going to get, you know, you're going to be all over the city for being a hero. No, you're a moron.
Well,
who deserves an open hand slap across the face from everybody in Philadelphia.
Okay, so the other thing is like the whole topic of flowers in football.
Oh,
and I'll tell you,
he's crazy.
I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you a story from a couple of years ago. I was a young man. I was like maybe 20 years old. Me and my father. It was right after the Marlins won the World Series. Remember in 2003 when they won? Jack McKeon, who drank brandy in the dugout and smoked cigars and was like an old school baseball man's man. They won the World Series. And Dave Wanstead, who was the coach of the Dolphins at the time, I was watching the Dolphins-Patriots game with my father, and Dave Wanstead made a comment that, after they won the World Series, he sent Jack McKeon flowers. And me and my dad looked at each other like, that's kind of odd. Like, Jack McKeon's not the type of guy that would want, another man buying him flowers. And I remember they asked Jack McKeon about it. He's like, yeah, I got flowers from this guy. I don't understand why I got sent flowers. He was like real weird about it. And I thought back of that when Nick Sirianni's in the room full of men talking about how they're like flowers and they're gonna grow roots there and they're gonna do this. Like, it just speaks to this guy like being like Gabe Kapler, not understanding the position you're in, the town you're in, things like that. Like, dude, it just that resonated with me. So then, like, when they do flowers at him today, it was just like the coup de grace and all that,
Okay. So I know we're getting way off topic, and I'm okay with that right now because this is a good conversation. So because they flew flowers at him, what the hell is going on Buffalo during Patriots games when they're throwing dildos onto the field?
Oh, that's just Bills Mafia being Bills Mafia.
It's unacceptable. Like, I'm sorry. Listen, and I thought it was hilarious. But at the end of the day, you're throwing. How do you get?
You're asking me to rationalize, a fan base who, put luchador masks on and then put their 7-year-old kid through a table because it's like their birthday gift.
Why it's on fire?
While it's on fire, it has thumbtacks on it. There's no rationale to anything that those people do. They're touched. It's just how it works. So there's certain fan bases where I can't come up with a rational reason for this. The whole Flowers thing, like I said, because of me thinking about the Dave Wanstead, Jack McKeon thing, it cracked me up a little bit more than probably it should have. But also, like him talking about, becoming Flowers in a room full of grown men who are playing professional football of all things. I was just kind of like, wow, this guy he doesn't have his finger on the pulse. I wouldn't talk about that with my 6 to 8 flag football team. I'd be like, these kids would think I'm some kind of wacko,
But you know what? The funny thing is, it's been now 2 weeks since he discussed the whole Flowers and the roots and grow. And in the last 2 weeks, the team itself has seemed to gel as a team, which is making me laugh because it's like, did they actually buy into this whole Flowers theory, or is it just coincidence?
They ran the ball. Okay, they ran the ball more, and they changed up what they were doing on defense. They're not just playing like that soft zone coverage that they don't pressure or do anything.
That's true.
So
That's
it was
true.
more the coaching changes that they made schematically that made them better. It wasn't like his goofball freaking flower analogy that he used, because it seemed like that they kind of clowned them in the press conferences when they were asking about it. Somebody was like, "Oh yeah, we're growing roots." Who was it? It was Fletcher Cox or somebody said that. Like, this is Chip Kelly all over again. Like, they just don't.
Okay, so they played Detroit 2 weeks ago. They threw the ball a total of 16 times in that game, which was absurd.
Worst team in football too. Worst team in football.
Yeah, worst team in football, which made me question all the people that were screaming like, "Oh, Jalen Hurts had a great game." No, he didn't.
103 passing yards.
Now today, when I actually saw a stat pop up because I wasn't able to pay attention to the whole thing, I saw that he had again 14 passing attempts at some point. Now I don't know what he finished with on the day, but I mean he was doing a lot more running. And it seems like they're going to his strengths, which is him running the football, and that's not going to last. I mean, that's
absolutely not. Yeah,
that's not going to last at all. I mean, he was still making the same mistakes that Jalen Hurts makes. His inexperience was coming through again.
He threw 17 times.
17. Okay, 17 times. That's
he missed some wide open passes too.
He really did. He did.
But then I'm the bad guy because I'm like he's not good. Like he missed Goddard completely in the first quarter, and it's like he's still learning the game. Like when is that going away?
Right. I mean, I don't know. He went to Goddard like how many times in the first series? It seemed like every throw went to him.
Yeah, he had 6 targets. He's your number 1 tight end.
Yeah, I mean, and he got most of his targets in the very beginning of the game. Like, I seriously feel like that he had like 4 targets in the first series. But
just make the announcement.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to click on it, but when you're ready.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break, about 44 seconds long commercial from La Terrain Watches, one of our sponsors here for the Philly Podcast and the CEV Sports Podcast Network. Go ahead, Chris. We'll run that.
They say every watch tells a story. Family. Moments. Lifetimes. With La Terrain, this is a watch that spans generations, not just from where it came from, but for where it will go. Knowing one of these, having one of these, is what being a professional, being casual, and being you is all about. From our family to yours, La Terrain.
All right. Well, thank you for that commercial there, La Terrain, and thank you for being a sponsor. And now, gentlemen, back to the Jalen Hurts is trash talk.
So it's not trash talk. He was 11 out of 17. He threw for 160 yards. Like, it drives me bananas that, like, of where we are. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, like I said, he he definitely knows how to get the. Like it seems like the team does though rally around him. I mean, he's out there. He's doing what he can do at the moment. I mean, I'm still not sold on him, but I felt today was a little bit better of a performance. But he still was doing his thing. So it was Jalen Hurts being Jalen Hurts, and you were right, Chris. He once his first read is gone, he just looks to run.
And he had 6 incompletions, and they were bad incompletions.
Yeah.
Like bad. It wasn't like he spiked the ball. Like they were terrible incompletions. And you know, I don't know, man. Like the Dolphins won today, which just screws up our draft pick. The Colts won. We lost. And and everyone, I love the fact that there is a Wentz Snap Twitter account. It's phenomenal.
I love it.
I love it.
Well, it's actually better that the Colts keep winning, because if the Colts would have, if the Colts were to lose the next 5 games, they're going to bench him, so they don't have to give that pickup on the snap count. So as long as they stay in contention, he's going to continue to play, which isn't a bad thing.
No, it isn't. But again, I go back to, everyone is so obsessed with him, and I'm like, we shouldn't rely. Wow, Ryan Tannehill just ran like all of LA. We shouldn't have to rely on another player and their ability to play. So if we have 3 first-round picks in the top 15, I know for a fact I have zero confidence in Howie Roseman drafting anybody. There isn't any stud quarterback that's out there in college. There's no Joe Burrow. There's no Deshaun Watson. There's not that player out there. I don't get it. What are they going to do with it? If they get the number 1 pick, all right, cool. They're going to draft the defensive end from Oregon. All right, that's cool. Then what are you going to do? You're going to trade those 2 draft picks and get rapey Deshaun Watson? I don't understand. What are they going to do with it?
They're going to get Russell Wilson.
If you get Russell Wilson with 2 first-round, listen, I'll tell you right now, you get 3 first-round picks, I would trade him for Russell Wilson in a heartbeat.
Well, Russell Wilson's going to be a free agent, I believe, and or maybe he is going to get traded, but he doesn't want to come here. That was the latest thing. Oh, well, we're going to get him. He doesn't want to play for this. He's not going to want to play for this coach. He's not going to want to come here. He's going to want to get to a situation where the team's already kind of in place, and he's just kind of the missing piece. And that happens often, and that's part of the. They're going to have to build this through the draft. Every day I see an article on WIP or another station saying oh, well, we're going to bring this quarterback in next year. Oh, we're going to bring Deshaun Watson. Oh, we're going to bring Russell Wilson. Those guys, there's a reason why Deshaun Watson is one player. Russell Wilson's not going to want to, they're not a piece away. They're going to want to go over these next 4 or 5 seasons, which is going to be the twilight of the career, like Matthew Stafford. They're going to want to go to a team that already has pieces in place in a more favorable market. And it's not here. It's not going to be here. So they got to really try to build this through the draft.
Well, what market are they going to go to? If you think about it.
Well,
who's better right now? Who's a better team, better put together in a better situation? The Philadelphia Eagles or the Cleveland Browns? Because people don't like the quarterback right now. They're not sold on Baker Mayfield, and there's a lot of talent on both sides of the ball there. So where would you rather go play? Would you rather play for Cleveland or would you rather play for the Eagles?
True. No, I see what you're saying. I mean, I got you. But you also got to remember this, too. Right now the Eagles are not, definitely not put together, to be like a team that a quarterback wants to go to that's a contender. But they have $60 million coming to them next year because that Carson Wentz stuff comes off the books, so that they're going to have a ton of cap space with 3 first-round picks. So they could be a few. They could be a trade away for a quarterback if they go that route, because there's no quarterbacks in the draft. There's none whatsoever that are considered franchise quarterbacks. So if they do go that route and trade for a quarterback, then they have money to bring other pieces in. They have money to give to a quarterback on an expired contract. So, the situation going into next year could be a lot different. We don't know how that's going to play out.
So while you're saying, if Russell Wilson goes anywhere, where's he going to go? He's not going to Cleveland because Cleveland just gave Baker Mayfield an extension. He's not going to. The only place he could really go is Carolina. Is he going to go to Detroit?
Could go to Pittsburgh,
Denver.
I don't know. Denver likes Teddy Bridgewater. It's.
I don't see him as a franchise QB, but I mean, if they're happy with the way he's playing, then God bless them.
I mean, if you think about it, like the three teams in the NFC East are all looking for quarterbacks next year. Like it's so if teams really wanted to throw money at them, it's one of the three. It's either the Giants, the Cowboys, it's the Giants, the Eagles, and the Washington football team. I have to go with that. I mean, John, you could be right, John.
Yeah,
he's not happy in Seattle, so they could franchise tag him if they want. He's just not happy anymore.
I mean, the other thing is too. I mean, at what point does Minnesota cut their ties with Kirk Cousins? They're enough years into the contract.
He's terrible.
He's enough years into the contract. Would you rather go up there? Would you rather play with Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, and Adam Thielen, or would you rather come here and play in Philadelphia? And they're going to get a new coach next year.
I'd be in Minnesota in a heartbeat.
Exactly.
I would be too. I mean, Dalvin Cook's one of my favorite players, and Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen are they're a great 1-2 combo.
It's a Tom Brady-like situation. You're going in with a bunch of skilled players that are already ready to go and know what they're doing. I mean, like you said, there's a lot of better situations out there that guy would rather go to because he's got to be the one to okay the trade. He'd be starting over with a bunch of brand new young players. That's not what the veterans generally like to do. And the other thing too is, I mean, if you bring a quarterback in here in free agency, or you take the contract on, all that money that you had, that's gone. You're paying a guy like $30-40 million a year. That's gone. And you got to sign 3 first-round draft picks.
So you're saying like Minnesota. So, and they're getting rid of their head coach.
Yeah. Zimmer's going to be gone at the end of the year.
Okay, so you're going to start with another young head coach?
No, they'll probably bring in somebody else. Somebody that might give them like a second chance. Look, second chance coaches in the NFL have a good track record for winning when they come back and they get another chance. I think that they might bring somebody back in and people might say it's a retread or it's this or it's that, and they'll be very successful up there because there's a lot of pieces in place on both sides of the ball there for a team to win. I don't know who it's going to be, but that's probably, if I was Minnesota, that's what I would do.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sorry, who?
I would have to look and see who's available next year at this point.
I'm telling you right now who it's going to be.
In Minnesota?
Yep. If Mike Zimmer gets fired, it's going to be Kellen Moore.
It might be. You might be right. You might be right.
And do you and as a veteran quarterback, do you want to go in with Kellen Moore, who's a first-year head coach? I'm asking.
Look how it played out with Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers. It doesn't generally work out. But do you really think it's going to work out here with Sirianni, where he's in the first year, second year? I mean, Christ, I'd rather take a guy where I don't know how he's going to be than Sirianni, where I know he didn't perform well.
That's who's going to be the next head coach somewhere. He might be the next head coach of the Raiders.
Of the Vikings. Yeah, that's the guy right there. That's a retread. The guy who got fired.
The first head coach that's going to get hired is going to be Eric Bieniemy this time. There's a lot coming down on the diversity of coaches and everything. I guarantee you he'll be the first one gone off the board. He's going to finally get a head coaching job.
And then he's going to suck because look at...
You don't know that.
But hold on. No, you're right. I don't. But look at Mahomes. They figured out the offense.
Okay.
Mahomes, I mean, he's not terrible, but I mean, he's not what he was.
He's a turnover machine.
He was it was. Oh my God, they're going to win the next 10 Super Bowls, and he's got 12 interceptions. Do you know he's got more interceptions than Carson Wentz and Tom Brady combined?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Well, Eric Bieniemy is probably going to end up in like Detroit. He's going to fail there. Nobody's going to succeed in Detroit. I mean, that's where he's probably going to end up there.
I'll say no. That's where
Kellen Moore goes. Kellen Moore's going to go to Detroit. That's what's going to happen.
No, Kellen Moore won't because Detroit will be out of the playoffs. The Cowboys will not. They'll still be playing.
Nope. You're allowed to talk to them now.
Yeah. You are allowed to talk to him, but I don't think he'll be interviewing now. I don't think
up to the last 2 weeks of the season, you're allowed to start talking.
I don't think he'll hold the interviews until that their run is done. I just think he'll focus on that. He will. Somebody will hold out. If they think that he's the best guy, they will hold out. Trust me.
I don't know. But you're right. Eric Bieniemy will be hired. He might go to Raiders, but if I'm a whatchamacallit, the owner of the Raiders, and the debacles that is the Raiders right now, I'm hiring Doug Peterson. Because Doug Peterson came in and he took care of the debacle that Chip Kelly caused. In 2 years, they were a Super Bowl winning team.
Well, I don't trust that the guy from the Raiders, Mark Davis, will be able to make any kind of sound decision. I mean, he's got the same damn haircut that
you never trust anyone with that haircut.
That Jim Carrey had in Dumb and Dumber. I can't look at that guy.
Dude, you're a billionaire. You can't go to a salon.
He apparently loves that haircut. I don't get it. So he can't make a competent decision over haircut. I don't think he'll be able to make a competent decision over who he's hiring as his next head coach.
Christ Almighty! I go to a salon every month, every 3 weeks.
When I saw that man's haircut, I was like, "What is that?"
He looks like Lloyd Christmas from Dumb and Dumber. It's crazy.
He really does. He really does.
He's just. Yeah. So we sat there. We ragged on Jalen Hurts defense. Oof, they're past defense, and I know Darius Slay got hurt. But
see, this is also why I think, because I'm all over the place when it comes to what the Eagles are going to do in this coming off season with draft wise. All right, are they going to make a play for a quarterback via trade since they'll have these first round picks, or are they going to try and try and position themselves to get up to the first overall pick and take that kid Thibodeau from Oregon, the defensive end? I mean, they could very well get him at 2. It's a possibility.
But there's no standout quarterback. That's the thing.
Well,
yet.
Well, I don't think there's going to be a standout quarterback in this draft.
I think it's the kid from Texas Tech. But I will say this, like Drew put that up. He put a status earlier. Key to the Eagles season is long drives. They gave the ball back with 6 minutes and 5 seconds left, and they held the ball the entire time.
Right.
So
I don't know.
Again, so the ideal way to build a team is to build your team and then have a quarterback not eating too much of your cap. So that way you can sign guys on both sides of the ball. They have a lot of holes on both sides. Too many holes that those 3 draft picks won't even fill. They have got to get a quarterback that's going to be on the books for the next 5 years that they're not going to be paying a ton of money to, because they have to bring in a lot of guys on both sides to be able to fill these holes. And taking a veteran quarterback, that's going to eat up a lot of that cap space that you created. It's just going to happen. And you might bring a guy in who's not the right guy for you. It might be a Kirk Cousins situation where he's better than what you have. He'll win you a couple games here and there, but he's not going to win you a championship. And you got to be careful with what you do with that. It's going to be a very tough offseason for the Eagles. It's going to be because they're going to have a lot of decisions to make like that. And frankly, I don't trust the people making them.
Listen, if the Eagles are 3-10, you can't go with Hurts for the last 4 games. I'm sorry. You can't. You can't. I've seen enough. And I want to root for the kid because he's my quarterback, but there's nothing to root for. He's overthrowing people badly. He's running to the right. It's just this is what people do at game film.
I mean, you heard them today on the broadcast where they actually said, it's like when he gets pushed out to the left, it's either he immediately goes to run right away because he has trouble throwing from his right to his left. And when they said that, he actually made a very good throw to Dallas Goedert, but that was just on the off chance, I felt, because it's right. Once he's on the move, he's not that good, throwing the ball. He has to be stable to throw the ball. He has to be in the pocket or get himself at least set out of the pocket. But he just, I don't know. I think if they move on from Jalen Hurts, I honestly think that they may stick for a year with Minshew because they have him under contract for what was this year and next year. So,
they would have to trade Jalen Hurts then if they're not going to. Because I think maybe you package Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders because if Sirianni's here next year, there's no way Miles Sanders is here.
There's no way he can
absolutely.
Be. For some reason, he does not like Miles Sanders. He doesn't trust him for whatever reason, and with the way they've been running the football these last 2 weeks, Miles Sanders has to be like hitting his head against the wall and kicking the dog across the garage.
He's definitely kicked this dog at least once or twice.
Yeah, he's had to, because I mean, I'd be freaking out. You know, I mean, I heard Brian Westbrook talking about it. He's like, he was saying the same thing. Like, I don't understand. You know, it's like he's a good talent. Why don't you use him? But you come in and it's like Jordan Howard's getting touchdowns now. You know, it's like I don't understand. It's like they've had a complete Jordan Howard and Boston Scott seem to be a formidable number, like 1 and 2, and then you throw in Gainwell here and there. Like Gainwell's another one that Sirianni seems to have lost confidence in. So it's like, I don't know.
I think Gainwell's more of a receiving back than he is a running
Exactly. To think he's anything more than that is crazy. I think initially when he drafted him, I think Sirianni thought he was going to be more than that. I don't get that. He's more of a guy you can line up in the slot and you put in a third down. That's what he is.
I tell you who I hate. I hate Jalen Reagor. What has he done?
He stinks.
He's absolutely terrible.
Yeah, he stinks.
And then that's when I sit there and I get mad when we go back to 2020 and the draft. You drafted a punt returner and then you drafted a backup quarterback for your franchise quarterback. Is this real life?
Yeah, it was crazy. Like now, I mean, like they have to be kicking themselves with that whole selection of Jalen Reagor at this point. I mean, when Justin Jefferson is out there doing what he does, it's like they have to be kicking themselves for that. I mean, well, you know they did because they went out and they got Devontae Smith. So they were chasing that pick. And it was the right pick to make when they got Smith. But, I mean, imagine Jefferson and Smith being your top 2 wide receivers right now. I mean, even as bad as we have seen Jalen Hurts be, they could make him look out to be very, very good. Like they could just grab everything.
Yeah, those flowers, they would certainly grow into a nice combination.
I wish he heard that. You said that when he didn't have his headset on.
I was saying that if they had drafted Jefferson to go with Devonta Smith, or Eric was saying that that would be a good combination. It'd be 2 flowers that would be able to blossom together.
They wouldn't have had a chance to get Devontae Smith. That is a great pipe dream because they would have been much better.
I'm just thinking because then you have Miles Sanders in there and it'd be a very nice bouquet that you'd be able to present to other teams.
That's the thing that makes me laugh. You say they would have been better. How do we know that? You know what I mean? How do we know that? I mean, this is the Philadelphia Eagles. We know how the front office works. We know what they do. We know how it's obvious that they manipulate what goes on the field, like personnel that's out there. How do we not know that they would not have had both those players?
Because Justin Jefferson is a better player than Jalen Reagor. Would have made a couple more. He would have made 10 more plays than Jalen Reagor did all of last season, which would have made either Jalen Hurts a little bit better, Jalen Hurts a little bit better at the end of the season, or Carson Wentz all season. That is my prediction. And there would have been no reason to draft Devontae Smith if we had Justin Jefferson. We already had Dallas Goedert. We already had the great Greg Ward. We already had the great Quez Watkins. There was no reason.
Great Greg Ward. You should never say that again.
Hey, man, the Cowboys drafted CeeDee Lamb when they had Amari Cooper.
Yeah. I mean, you want to be spiteful, that's what you do. Especially in this division, you take guys that you don't need. Honestly, you take guys you don't need. I mean, Christ, the Eagles moved up, and they drafted Dallas Goedert. They did that to spite Dallas. So that's why I say you never know. Like, yeah, say if they gotten Justin Jefferson the year before, there's no doubt in my mind that if the Eagles had a shot that, you know what, we want this certain player. We can see these 2 guys doing great things with Carson Wentz. Boom. You know what I mean?
But it wouldn't. But I get what you're saying, and you're 100% right. But it's a whole that would have. While it would have been great, it would have been a stupid draft pick because for what? Like, you have to replace offensive linemen. That's why Dickerson was drafted. That's why. I wish they would have got Sewell from Detroit. It's again. It would have been one of those draft picks. Like, yeah, what the hell is Howie doing? We would have agreed with it because Devontae Smith won the Heisman, but at the end of the day, there's far more glaring needs that this team would have needed had they drafted the right people during the 2020 draft. And not Jalen Hurts. And not Jalen Reagor. Like, I'm over the Jalen Hurts pick. It is what it is. Like, it's a second-round pick. They wasted it. The Jalen Reagor thing will never make any sense to me ever in the history of all the drafts, especially everyone's live video reaction of who the hell is Jalen Reagor. Like, no one knew who he was. And everyone, Michael Irvin's like, this is a great draft pick. Shut up, Irvin. It's not. Get off the coke. It is not a good draft pick. You're saying that because the Cowboys didn't draft him. So, like, you hope that there would have been a little bit of, you know what? This is what we need. Let's go get Jeremy Chin, maybe. I don't know. Like, let's go get, an offensive lineman. But no. Here we are with Jalen Reagor, Quez Watkins, the great Greg Ward, and Devontae Smith. It's frustrating as hell. It really is. And the fact that none of us do meth as Eagles fans, between the two of us, it's amazing. Like, because, like, the amount of drugs that we should be taking, no wonder weed's legal in Philadelphia now.
Talk about flowers. Yeah, that's true. Some buds.
Buds, yeah.
That's too funny.
So
funny.
I want to touch on another subject. Yeah, I got to look at this Kenny Pickett from Pitt because he supposedly had a good weekend. So can we talk? Can we talk about how crazy Aaron Rodgers is?
Man, look.
We'll dedicate like 3 minutes to him. Can we just talk about how insane this man is?
I have to say, all right, because I actually have to run, but I want to say this. I'm glad you actually touched on this. Okay, look, number one, for anyone listening, I mean, yes, he is out there. One, I don't have a problem with him wanting to do what's best for his body. Totally fine, right? Okay, if he is legit like allergic to one of the ingredients that's in Pfizer and Moderna that he can't take it, okay, fine. If he has an issue with the clotting issue with Johnson & Johnson, okay, fine. 100% fine. But don't take your medical advice from guys like us. And just because his name is Joe Rogan and he's popular, go, Joe Rogan, this is my messiah. I'm going to listen to him. I'm going to take ivermectin, and then I'm going to tell people, yes, I'm immunized. There are protocols that the NFL has. Just because you did something to boost your immune system and tell everybody that you are now have tiger blood in your system, okay? I don't care. Follow the protocols. It's no different than any other job having rules and protocols for doing things. Don't sit there and be like, oh, I'm a victim now. No, you're stone cold bleeping nuts. Joe freaking Rogan is your Dr. Fauci? I'm sorry. He and look, I don't want to be political with it. I really don't. But this guy, like Joe Rogan is like honestly the worst person to take the advice from because he is so far right. He's one of those guys that goes down the rabbit hole. He watches that stuff with a tinfoil hat on and believes what he's watching and says, "Whoop, the government's not getting in here today." No, I'm sorry. I can't. And at one point, I really had high hopes that maybe Aaron Rodgers, who is the shittiest person on earth, would one day get out of Green Bay and come to Philadelphia. Stay away. Stay the hell away. Keep your nonsense in Green Bay or wherever you want to go, you John Wick looking SOB. I don't care. Don't care. Done. No, sorry. Oh, right. No heartworm. Yeah, no, not at all. You're definitely right, Drew. But
all right, so
I'm sorry. You guys.
No. Listen, and I think unless Pat has anything to add to the bananas that is Aaron Rodgers,
bananas.
I think that's a great way to end the show. Unless Pat has anything else that he would like to add.
I do want to clarify some of the things on there that I heard. Joe Rogan is not a right-wing political figure. Joe Rogan has never voted Republican in his entire life. Joe Rogan was basically raised by hippies, and he moved all around the place. What he has seen, I mean, now there was a doctor that lied on his show, or lied, CNN has lied about, the treatment that he received. And the guy came onto his show and admitted basically that, the company lied. When you sow distrust out there, it gives power to people like that. The whole thing about it being a horse dewormer. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a virologist, but
that's actually the greatest comment ever.
What?
He won't have a heartworm problem from
right.
Drew.
Well,
that was so funny.
There's two drugs that they tested in the field. That hydroxychloroquine, they've been using that overseas. For whatever reason, that worked. It has properties that work with this virus. Ivermectin, same thing. It's an antiparasitic. It works with this virus. For whatever reason, that's not supposed to work. They've tested it overseas. I think they've used it a lot in Hong Kong. It has worked. Don't know why. I think it has to do with the lab theory. Whatever. You don't want to go down the rabbit hole with it. It's fine. I don't care. But again, when major media companies in America come out and say, "Oh, well, Joe Rogan took horse dewormer," he didn't. He took the antiparasitic human version of this. Why are you constantly trying to undermine other treatments? Well, I can tell you why. Because if there is something else that treats COVID-19, they don't have the emergency use for the vaccine anymore, and it just can't be readily available. So anything that could remotely treat this virus, they're trying to run a campaign saying doesn't work. So I don't think he took advice from Joe Rogan on whether or not he should get the virus. I think once he got the virus, he went to Joe Rogan and said, "What did you do as far as for treating this?" Joe Rogan got the virus. He took ivermectin. He took the monoclonal antibodies. He took a bunch of different stuff along with that, and he got better in like 5 days. So I think Aaron Rodgers reached out to him and said, "What did you take?" After the fact. I don't think he called him and said, "Hey, Joe, what do you think about this? I'm not going to get the vaccine." I don't think that's how the conversation went. I think he kind of talked to him about the treatment he used once he got the virus, because Joe Rogan was very open about saying that, "Hey, I had it for 5 days and I got rid of it." I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I got the vaccine. I got the Pfizer back in March. But there's just a lot of misinformation out there. And I don't think it's all right-wing, too. I think a lot of it has to do with his girlfriend. His girlfriend's a wacko. She eats clay as part of a cleansing routine she does. Absolutely insane with some of the stuff she says. And she's a left-wing wacko. So, and he's from California. There's not too many Republicans out in California. So I don't think this is like a right-wing conspiracy thing. I think that he's just around too many of the wrong people. I think he might be listening to too many of the wrong people. But Joe Rogan, like I said, he's a down-the-middle, straight-shooting type of guy. I don't have a problem with anything he's been saying. He's not a tinfoil hat either. He asks a lot of questions. I happen to like the guy. He's one of the reasons why I got into podcasting. I find him very interesting. I think he talks about a variety of different things. I think he's a great sports commentator. Hell, he was great last night with the fights I saw. So, I got no problem with him. If he hurts some clay, yes. That'll cleanse maybe, some of the issues he's having.
Maybe we'll...
Hey, listen, listen. It was both good points. I thoroughly enjoyed both of them because, I'm not getting into it. We weren't bringing up politics. I just wanted everyone's opinion on the craziness that is known as.
There's definitely something going on with the guy. I mean,
he's not right.
No, he's perpetually unhappy. I mean, he got hit the other night, and he was laying on the ground. He had the craziest look on his face. And frankly, he looks like somebody who would ask me for a Lucy outside of Wawa. That's what he looks like now.
Yeah, it's like I don't know where he went from being just like Aaron Rodgers that everybody knew, like the guy that was waiting behind Brett Favre, to what we're getting now. He's slowly started going in this off direction, and. Yeah, I mean, but my whole thing is when people ask you if you're immunized, don't say yes. Just don't say yes, I'm immunized, because you know what they're asking you for. You know what they're trying to ask. You know what I mean? And I mean he took
advantage of the question. Yeah, he said, "Yeah, I'm immunized." He actually meant he was talking about polio and things like that. He slicked that Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Here's the funny thing, and it's. I don't understand why the NFL hasn't come down on the Packers, because
they will now.
Like, it's not that he lied about it, but he was misled the information. Like, we all know Carson Wentz doesn't take the vaccine. Whether it's because of his religion, even though it's, I argue with people all the time, he doesn't feel safe doing it. It could be a religious factor, because we all know how religious Carson Wentz is. So that could be that. But people are like, no, that's not good enough. Well, he's doing all his, he wears the mask. Rodgers wasn't doing any of that.
Wasn't doing any of it.
And
Because he just wasn't. He was being defiant about it. I think he's one of the people that doesn't believe in like what's going on. He may not be happy with the mandates that are out there, and he's just this is his way of rebelling against it. So I think he's he's just a piece of crap person.
Yeah, I think he's just a miserable guy. I think if you told him, like, hey, Aaron, don't go out tomorrow and play in traffic, I think we'd probably see him on the boulevard playing chicken with cars. He's that type of guy. If you tell him, don't do something, he's just going to go out and do it,
I would love to see that on the boulevard.
You see that?
It would be the first time I've seen that. Yeah.
All right. So, with that, thanks to John and Drew. We had a lot of viewers, not many comments, other than John and Drew. Good show.
It was good.
We'll be back this week. See you, Pat, as he just rolls out. That dude just leaves. He's like, I'm leaving. See you. Peace out. We'll probably be back on later on in the week. I'll be on Thursday on Tendies on Patterson. So, thanks to Drew. I will say this. I think Tuesday, Francine from ECW is going to be on.
Yes, with Ty.
With Ty on CEV. So, any wrestling fans out there know who Francine is. She's a local girl. Yep. So, we got her. Ty locked her up. He had on Gabby from Philly the other day. I don't know what that was. So, like Francine, she's a big deal.
Yeah.
She was a big deal.
She was a big deal. She was a very big deal.
Now, maybe this will be a regular thing. She'll come on CEV. And there he's back.
That's back.
I don't know nobody's calling him.
Who knows?
Yeah, he loves his Drew's a big wrestling guy. Like he goes to all those wrestling things. And I actually commented on him. I think he said his cousin is an amateur wrestler, and I said, reach out. Wants to come on and talk. Wants to come on and talk with Ty. Let me know. All he needs is a phone, and.
Okay, cool. Sports group on Facebook.
Good. Thanks, John. I appreciate
cool. Thank you.
I appreciate letting us put our show in your group. Just trying to get, our name out there. But yeah, Francine will be on. We had Vince Russo on a couple weeks ago. Independent guy. There he was. Yeah, I saw his video where he was the other day. So Drew, reach out to me or Eric if your cousin wants to come on. Or I forget who it was. He commented. Wants to come on and talk with Ty. Ty will give him 45 minutes. He'll give him his spiel. He'll put his name out there. Ty's pretty big in the wrestling world. The dude, he had Vince Russo on. He's got Francine on.
Yeah.
He had on Layla Gray, who was a champion in her APW, I think it was. So
I think it was. He has a lot of independent people come on his show, and it's awesome. So,
definitely let me know, Drew. Give him my contact. You can email the page. Somebody will get in contact with him if he wants to come on and do his thing.
All right. Well, I'm going to shut this down, man, because I gotta run.
Peace out, people. Thanks for listening, and see you sometime this week.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining the show. Have a good night.